As far as doing cryptid stuff, that was one of the first things I did when I kind of decided to start trying to do like a line of enamel pins and stickers and stuff and just see how that went. I started with a pepperoni roll and a West Virginia hot dog pin, and then the next thing I did was Mothman and Sheep Squatch and Flatwoods Monster pins. Before that, I think the first thing I did was like a zine of cryptids after I went to the my first Mothman festival and started reading more about West Virginia cryptids and those things specifically and the folklore behind those, because I had never heard of Flatwoods Monster until I went to a Mothman festival and I was like, what is this?
Welcome to Creepalachia. We have an amazing episode planned. I've heard you called the Cryptid Queen. I don't know if that's a thing, but we have the amazing Liz Pavlovic in the studio. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I'm so pumped to talk all things art with you. So first off, where did you grow up? Did you grow up in West Virginia or?
Kind of. So all my family is from Southern West Virginia. My parents are from there and grandparents and everyone. My dad had different like jobs within mining stuff, so he moved around, and I was born in Alabama.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I grew up there, but we came back to West Virginia every summer and Christmas for like a month or something at a time even. So it's got a lot of back and forth.
Awesome. Your dad was a coal miner?
Both my grandpas were. My dad did like human resources.
Oh, gotcha.
Companies,
okay.
But like, yeah.
How cool.
Yeah.
So growing up, when did you figure out like, hey, this whole art thing, I kind of dig it.
I guess how I was like drawing and stuff. A lot of it was inspired by my mom. She was really creative, was an art teacher. So she always encouraged people to, draw and do creative stuff. And then I ended up majoring in graphic design in college. So
awesome. So your mom, what grade did she teach?
She taught elementary school, like all kinds of subjects and stuff, and then did art. Was an art teacher for high school students.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How many years did she do that?
That's a good question, actually.
Several years.
Yeah, several
we'll just
years.
say several.
Yeah, different places, and yeah.
So did she kind of instill this creativity in you at a young age?
Yeah.
What did you do as a kid? Like, did you like to paint or?
I guess mostly like drawing and coloring. I did some painting stuff. We would occasionally do like sculpture projects and just kind of random stuff. We'd carve stamps out of potatoes and like make cards and stuff with those. And yeah, I liked doing a lot of like card and book design kind of things as a kid, and yeah, coloring book stuff.
That's awesome. Was you into like the Appalachian folklore at an early age, or because
yeah, I always loved ghost stories. One of my grandpas in particular liked kind of scaring the kids with ghost stories, but we were all also like really into it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, of course. And I did like, I guess, scary stuff, Goosebumps and stuff like that as a kid. And then probably first got into like cryptids and stuff. If you can't count Bat Boy as a cryptid, my mom was really into him. And then of course he ended up being like from West Virginia. So we just thought it was hilarious when he was in all the tabloids and kind of collected those. So he was sort of my first intro to like that world of creatures and things and folklore and stuff.
I think everyone has a childhood memory, like our age has a childhood memory of Bat Boy, because I found out on the show, Chris Collin, who is like a spelunker, caver in the area, he told me that Bat Boy was from West Virginia, and I never even realized that.
Yeah, supposedly like some caverns kind of around Lewisburg area, but
yeah, the Lost World,
right?
Caverns,
Yeah.
How cool! All right, so as you progressed through life, as we all do, did you kind of know at an early age what you wanted to pursue, or has that changed?
I mean, like I said, I always really liked art and drawing and had a dream that maybe that could be some part of my job. But, a lot of artists are like, well, how am I going to make money doing that? It's not really something you're like, I'm just going to grow up and be an artist necessarily, unless you have something specific in mind, maybe. So there was a point too when I also thought I wanted to be a veterinarian because I love animals. But, yeah, when I got more into computers when I was around 12 and like taught myself Photoshop and got into more graphic design stuff and realized that that could be specifically what I wanted to do with art, and was excited to learn WVU had that as a major when I visited there and got really into graphic design and everything.
Shoot, yeah. So what do you remember? What year Photoshop? I mean, was it the early
Oh my
days
gosh.
or?
Yeah, it was early. I'm trying to think. It was like around 2000, 2001 probably when I was.
Do you what do you design in mainly now?
I use Illustrator and the Adobe Procreate to some extent, but like Adobe Fresno, I think it is on my iPad.
Yeah. Because you've done a lot of large designs, so you need something that kind of blows up and is lossless.
Yeah, I use vector design for almost everything I do, just so I don't have to worry about scaling it for different stuff.
Yeah. So, did you, when it come to the graphic design stuff, did you have anything in particular? Because, I mean, I guess, would you say you're known for like the cryptid creations or, you've done several things, which we'll get into, but has that always been your art style from the beginning, or did you kind of develop into that?
As far as doing cryptid stuff, that was one of the first things I did when I kind of decided to start trying to do like a line of enamel pins and stickers and stuff and just see how that went. I started with a pepperoni roll and a West Virginia hot dog pin. And then the next thing I did was Mothman and Sheep Squatch and Flatwoods Monster pins. Before that, I think the first thing I did was like a zine of cryptids after I went to the my first Mothman festival and started reading more about West Virginia cryptids and those things specifically and the folklore behind those, because I had never heard of Flatwoods Monster until I went to a Mothman festival and I was like, what is this? And then there are a bunch of other ones I never heard of. That was like around 2016, 17.
Yeah. Flatwoods Monster is arguably like the coolest looking one.
Oh yeah. It's very intriguing. People are always like, what is that one? Like, what's the story there? And yeah, it's kind of cool to me that it's the main kind of one thought to be an alien maybe or whatever. So
sure. So which I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but so you decide, did you ultimately go to college after high school? So you went to WVU?
Yeah.
What did you study in?
Graphic design. Yeah.
Did you like a 4-year thing?
Yeah, I got my BFA. Yeah.
Awesome. So you obtained the degree, which I'm very not envious. Like I admire people's ability to go and do things they don't want to do. Because I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I couldn't finish college. So, after you've completed, what was your next goal? Was you like, okay, well, let me see what kind of jobs are open or?
Yeah, there was a minute when I was like, maybe I'll get a master's degree in design. But honestly, by the time I was graduating, I was kind of like, I'm tired of school. I don't know if I want to do that. And I looked around state for design jobs and stuff. Of course, there's not a ton in that realm in West Virginia, especially 2010. So I worked in a lot of food service jobs and then tried to do freelance design on my own for people and had some success with that. I also worked for a small publisher in Morgantown. But yeah, just did as many different kind of related jobs to design stuff as I could and scraped things together.
Oh, cool.
And then I moved to Iowa. I got a design job out there. That was the first kind of like office job that I had.
What year was that?
2016, I believe. And was out there for a little bit and just kind of realized that ultimately I was like, oh, I actually don't really want to work in an office. I want to do more creative stuff. And that's when I started my Etsy store and started doing the pins and stuff just to kind of give it a shot. I was like, at least see how this goes and then figure things out from there if it doesn't go well. But
yeah, there's something. I mean, some environments, if you're creating in a a cubicle or I don't know where, it's kind of draining creatively. It kind of sucks all the fun out of it.
Yeah, it's hard to have the energy to do your own stuff after that kind of thing. And I mean, I met great people working there, of course, and everything, but just realized it wasn't really for me. But yeah, I feel really lucky to be able to have my Etsy store and everything that I do now. And
sure.
Yeah.
Well, you decide to quit. Were you nervous? Or was you like, I'm kind of going to figure it out?
I was definitely really nervous. Yeah. Because I had finally gotten, the job I kind of thought I always wanted, at least to some extent. And was afraid to leave. I worked remotely for them for a little bit, but the pens and stuff started taking off more than I expected. And there started to be more opportunities in state for artists and more like vending, events and art markets and stuff than there had been in the past. So that was helpful as well.
Yeah. When you start an Etsy store, what is the financial breakdown like? For every dollar, what's the fee? Does that make sense? Like, how do you even set up a store?
I set mine up so long ago. I feel like now things have kind of changed. I think they want you to have a certain amount of listings that helps like your visibility. There's a lot more now that affects your visibility. Of course, reviews and all that kind of thing. You have to ship things on time and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, there are fees that go into it that have gone up, sadly, since I started my store. And so you kind of have to like bake that into stuff. But then, there's shipping, and then there's the cost of like shipping materials and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd you find that? Did you take business classes in college or anything? How'd you figure out that stuff?
Kind of on the fly, figuring out what works. And I mean, yeah, I'm honestly not the best at bookkeeping and that kind of stuff, but just
who is?
yeah, just trying to keep the business going. Selling enough stuff, you can do the next thing you want to do, and yeah,
yeah. So the pens, well, I tell you what, let's look them up. So they're on your Etsy store.
Yeah, that's the most like up to date inventory, probably.
Well, we're gonna look that up. So, do you like buy the pen and then you make the design, and then is it epoxy or?
They're enamel pens. They're soft and hard. I do a mix of those. But I do the design and then send it to a company that has the equipment to make them.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. Because I'm trying to figure out merch for the show as it continues to grow. And I'm like, well, I looked into some of these print shops and it's just so expensive.
Yeah, some of them can be, depending. You have to have like certain minimum amount for the order. And yeah, I know it can get pretty pricey with stuff. I try to work with local people when I can, but
I think I want to get you to design because I'm going to do like quarterly custom drops. I may pay you to design a shirt or something.
That'd be awesome. I'd love to. Yeah,
that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
So I'm on the site here. So all these designs, like you do them yourself. You don't have anyone that helps.
Yeah, that one is not mine actually.
This one. Oh,
the first Mothman shirt there is.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
the first
and
one.
that should go to my store.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's beautiful. I'm trying to find the pins here. Let me go back. Let's see.
The squonk pen there is mine.
Oh, right here. Okay.
Yeah.
So what is a squonk? I don't think I've heard of that.
He's kind of a depressing cryptid. He's from Pennsylvania. Supposedly like roams the hemlock forest up there. But his story is he thinks he's ugly, so he cries all the time.
Mm.
Which is it's sad. Yeah. They'll like dissolve into tears if you find one. That's part of the folklore. But yeah, he's kind of a relatively new, as far as people talking about him, cryptid. The stories go back to like, settlers like Paul Bunyan kind of era cryptid stuff.
Wow.
But there's a festival for him now in Johnstown. That's fun.
How many?
They try to cheer him up a little bit.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's sad. It's like, anyone who listened to emo in the 90s probably thought of this one. Was like,
yeah. A lot of people are like, it looks like my dog. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it does look like a little pug. Kinda. Yeah. Oh, well, I love the squonk. How many cryptids have you discovered since diving into this? Because it just seems to be never ending.
Yeah.
Like every state has 175.
There are a ton. I think on my West Virginia map, there are 13. I haven't actually counted in a second. But then, there are other ones in Pennsylvania like him. And I've started doing more like Kentucky stuff, getting into that too. And expanding outside West Virginia. But there's still more in West Virginia I haven't done merch for yet because there's...
Have you dove in? Do you dive into the lore of them too when you design?
Yeah. I try to like look up old newspaper articles and stuff to actually read the reports of what people said, because that's mainly where my inspiration for what they look like comes from, and especially if there aren't a ton of illustrations already out there. And obviously, I definitely don't want to copy anyone else's thing either. So I just want to go to what was said about them and try to make my own rendering of the articles and stuff.
That's so cool. So Sheep Squatch, that's West Virginia?
Yeah.
Really? What's that?
So he was actually seen like around Boone County, where my family's from, more like in the late 90s. And he's a big sheep guy, sort of like a Bigfoot, but has horns and claws, but he has a possum tail, which is a fun detail. And supposedly different like campers have seen him. Seen him running around hills and stuff down there.
So for that one, was there already previous examples of like, well, it kind of looks like this, or did you go off?
There was
text?
maybe one or two online, but that was one that I was sort of like what? Like, I have to draw this because I don't understand
Yeah.
what's being described. You know what I mean? And it was fun to come up with a representation of him.
That's awesome. So you get the pins going. Did you see early, like, hey, this may become a thing, or you kind of transitioned, right? You started selling pins before you officially quit.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I wanted to see how it would do. And I was kind of surprised how much people liked it. I mean, like I said, I started with the pepperoni roll pen because I just wanted more like unique West Virginia merch that I didn't really see out at that time. That wasn't just like sports related or something.
Sure.
And people were really into those, and then more than I expected, really into Mothman and the cryptid stuff. And people seemed to also like learning about those stories, which was really fun.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, there's so many beautiful things on here.
Oh, thank you.
So you got you do greeting cards?
Yeah. I always do a set for Valentine's Day, and then I occasionally do Christmas ones and stuff.
So now, do you figure out, like, do you kind of map out a year of like, well, this month we're going to release this, we're going to make something here, or?
I try to. Between events, and I have an event schedule, and then I try to between those work in when I can. Shop releases and drops and stuff. I try to do, like I said, Valentine's cards, Halloween stuff, and then new Christmas stuff, since that's a big shopping season for people. And I do new stuff for Mothman Festival every year.
Yeah, I was gonna, so let's get into that. You have so how we met is you have a custom Mothman suit,
Right?
And we were making a commercial about Mothman and Flatwoods Monster, so that got me in touch with you through, I can't even remember how many connections. I started reaching out to the museum, and they had that one that they were using, but they sent me your contact, and it kind of matched the Flatwoods. It matched Braxy a little better than the other one.
Yeah.
So
I think that one's like deteriorating now, sadly.
Oh yeah,
the museum has.
So I said it's kind of hard to get out because of, like, it's made of
latex, I think,
yeah,
or something like that.
silicone.
That started to age. Yeah, it is a really cool one, but yeah, I think that's what I heard about it.
Yeah, so we got so we made that, which if you want to see that commercial, we watched it on the Flatwoods Monster episode with Andrew.
Nice.
So
that was so fun.
Yeah. It was a good time. I'm gonna bring up the let's see. I'm gonna bring up the costumes so people can see while I'm Googling here. Okay. Is this you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we got this suit for people just listening to audio.
Yeah, that's more of the full thing, I think.
Yeah. It has glowing eyes, and it has, the wings, and it's made out of fur, essentially. But when did you get the idea to create this thing?
I guess it was a few years ago. I just thought it would be fun to have a representation of my Mothman character specifically I could dress up as, and found out there was a costume maker in state in Hurricane named Del Morton, and he made the Flatwoods Monster costume as well. And so I started out with just the head, since it's kind of an investment. And that was really fun. I did that with kind of my own other parts that I pieced together for a few years for Halloween and stuff, and people really liked it. And then when you guys contacted me, I'd already wanted to get the rest of the suit made, and I was like, okay, this is a specific reason to get it made. I've been wanting to anyway, and he could actually get it done in time, which was amazing. So yeah.
Okay, so you worked with him to kind of
finish it. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it's based on my design, but yeah, he made it, him in his shop. Yeah.
Awesome. So he made all three, didn't he?
Yes.
He make
he made the other
too?
Mothman too. Yeah.
Yeah. So shout out to him.
Yeah.
Amazing work. So you done this. Did you have plans to be like, well, I'm going to start, like, I don't know if you charge a fee or doing appearances, or did you just want to kind of use it to promote your work?
Mostly, yeah, and just have fun. And I am really into Halloween. And yeah, I just thought it'd be a fun thing to have at, events and stuff. A lot of people dress up, obviously cosplay stuff and all that thing. But it has become more of a thing where people have paid me to appear at like art walk stuff and take pictures of people, which is super fun. I'm excited to do more of that.
Yeah, and to be in commercials.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Which that commercial did awesome. I highly recommend anyone wanting to plan a Mothman project, which we're planning one, but it's kind of going to be like what Chris Nolan did with Batman, we're going to try and do with Mothman.
Yeah.
I got a guy named Jason Baker out of Pittsburgh that's making the suit. I'll show you some pictures.
Sweet. That's exciting.
It's insane. I got to make a movie good enough just to show the thing. And I haven't really announced much about that. So if you're listening to the podcast, there's a little tidbit. But so when you put the suit on, what kind of response do you get at these events? How many pictures would you say you have to take?
I mean, I guess at least probably 20 or more. The last thing that I did. I mean, kids are obviously super into it. But yeah, it's just really fun seeing how excited people get because people love Mothman and yeah, kids especially. It's really cute.
That's kind of your artwork too. Like everything you do does all this stuff in a family friendly way. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That's also part of why I started doing some of the cryptid stuff. Was a lot of the representations of Mothman especially are very masculine and also kind of scary, which I mean, I'm into scary stuff too. But I wanted to do something more like slice of life and cartoony kind of that everyone could enjoy, any gender, any age basically can enjoy and maybe see themselves in these funny representations of the cryptids.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. And yet when you're in character, you don't talk, right? Or are you like,
no,
hey?
yeah.
Okay.
My Mothman doesn't talk, at least in person.
Perfect. Yeah. And you got all the, you got your own set of moves and you really, it's a fun character. So do you go to the Mothman Festival every year?
Yeah.
Tell me about that. I haven't went yet.
It's a really good time. It's intense. It's crazy. There's so many people there. And it's just basically bigger every year, like both days. But there's so much to see, tons of people in costumes. There's tons of vendors, food and everything. And it's really cool to see Point Pleasant. The streets just filled with people and the lines for the museum and the statue are wild, and people propose in front of the statue and hold their kids up in front of it and stuff. And it's really cool. It's a fun time.
Yeah, I hear, what, like 10,000 people or something crazy like that?
Maybe even more, closer to 20 something. I can't remember the numbers now, but
yeah, I need to go. I have a buddy that works on our team that went this year, and he was like, if you go park here, go at
exactly.
this time.
Parking is important. Yeah, if you have to know the logistics. But yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and the who owns? This is bad. Who owns the museum?
The Walmsleys.
Walmsleys.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. I would love to get them on. Do you have their cell phone?
I could get you in touch with them for
Perfect.
sure. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, they're awesome people. They love that.
Which I cold called him when we was doing this commercial. I just can't remember who I spoke to to kind of lead us in the right direction. Here's that suit we were talking about.
Yeah, that's the original one. That was the first one I saw when I went. It is a really cool one. There's a lot of detail.
Yeah, and I was sad. Andrew said that the guy who made the statue passed away. Do you know that? Or do you?
Yeah, I think he did not long ago. His daughter has started selling some merch like related to it now, I think.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, trying to make him more known, I think.
Yeah, if anyone's ever seen the statue, they'll remember it. But here's a picture of it for the folks watching the YouTube channel. But
yeah. The eyes are made from Blinko glass.
Really?
It's like one of my favorite West Virginia fun facts. Yeah.
That's amazing. Oh, what? Is that not on the statue? It's just known?
I don't think it says it on the plaque.
Yeah.
Yeah. I might be wrong about that, but.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's a good one.
We're going to try and get in, because the movie we're shooting late summer, and we're going to try and get, I'm just going to grab the camera guy and we're going to go up there and shoot some night shots and get the statue in there, because I want it to be in this world. Yeah. That the Mothman exists, you know?
Sure.
What I mean?
Yeah. That's cool.
So it's just such a landmark.
Yeah.
Have you got the pizza from the Village?
Yeah, Village Pizza. I mean, great. Yeah, I've got a Mothman pizza shirt from them as well.
That's great. So I imagine you set up as a vendor.
Yeah, I do. I'm actually right behind the statue. There's those tents you can kind of see. There's another one kind of to the right that I'm always in.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
How long are you there? Is it a multi-day event?
Yeah, it's all day Saturday and Sunday. I think they do some movie stuff or speakers on Friday evening usually. I don't set up and vend then, but yeah, it's all weekend.
Do you clean house? I imagine you do pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely my busiest event. That's why, yeah, it's fun to do like limited edition stuff for it and get to meet a lot of people at it. And yeah, it's a crazy time. It gets a little claustrophobic sometimes, and it's for some reason always the hottest, last really hot weekend of the year. Like it'll be beautiful the weekend before, everyone jokes about it, and then it's just sweltering every Mothman festival.
Sure.
Like swampy, but it's a really fun time.
It's usually in September, right?
Yeah, like the third weekend, I believe. That's
Yeah.
what they shoot for.
I need to make it up there. Awesome. So, back to your progression, you start seeing the pens move off the shelves. What was next? Like, did you start thinking of like, well, okay, I really want to make t-shirts, or I want to do...
I think I did some t-shirts. I also started getting really into stickers. I was obsessed with stickers as a kid, as a lot of us were and probably still are. And those also honestly did better than I expected. I mean, people love putting them on water bottles and all kinds of stuff nowadays, and they're just really fun to make. It's not like as much of a commitment maybe as like a whole batch of shirts or whatever. Easy to do new designs. So that's definitely been a huge cornerstone of my stuff for the stickers, but I also started doing Mothman shirts initially. Yeah.
Awesome. So for this sticker that I have on the screen, what's the process here? Do you kind of think like, ooh, Ghouls Night Out would be a cool tagline? Let me kind of...
Yeah, usually, yeah. Since a lot of my stuff has like puns or some kind of text-based joke or wordplay or whatever, I do kind of have a running list of ideas, and sometimes I'll have, the visual component in mind already, but a lot of the times it does start with a funny phrase or something related to cryptids or monsters or whatever.
Do you, like, I know some designers will sketch stuff out on paper and then kind of transfer it. Like, what's your process with that? Do you kind of start drafting it out on Illustrator? Or?
Yeah, now that I have an iPad, since I got that, that's been really nice. I just do basically the whole process on there. I do sketching and Procreate usually, and then I move to whatever program for the vector stuff. I occasionally will still do it on paper, just depending on like where I am or something, but I usually do it on my iPad.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about Procreate.
It's really awesome. Yeah, I can't imagine if I'd had it like in college or something. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, I have to look into it. Can you do animations and
You
stuff?
can, yeah. I've just scratched the surface with that, but it's really cool. Yeah.
Really? How fun. So you don't do you press your own shirts?
I don't.
You don't?
I wish I had room and all that stuff for like a big screen print setup, but yeah, I work with Cleveland Print Company.
Cool. Is
They
it
do
local?
it all by hand. They're in Cleveland.
Okay, gotcha.
But yeah, it's just like, it's all by hand and everything. It's a small business and they do a really, really good job. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So here's what I'm thinking, and you tell me if it's stupid. So there's a local sign company called Sign Arc, and they do this DTF, direct to film prints.
Okay.
And they can print me off a roll of like logos or whatever the design is. They can print me a whole roll, and I think it would end up being like maybe $1 a shirt. It won't be much, but I'm going to buy a heat press, and then I'm going to get the shirts and press them here.
Yeah.
And I think that'll help me keep costs somewhat down,
Yeah.
but also enough profit to make it make sense.
Yeah.
So that's the plan.
Seems not like a bad idea.
I mean, yeah, sounds good, don't it?
Yeah.
And then like for stickers and stuff, I'll get them to print some stickers and,
Yeah.
different things like that. But I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But hopefully I'm going to do a Shopify store.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then build the website and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Did you are these your tarot cards? What am I looking at?
No.
Okay, that's someone else. Okay. Let's see. We got Cryptid babies. Oh,
Yeah.
that's just an amazing poster. So, what gives you these ideas? Are you just sitting there sometimes at like 3 a.m. you can't sleep and you're like,
Sometimes, yeah, it'll come to me randomly. Sometimes I'll be, watching something and think of something or remember something I liked when I was younger as a kid or whatever. And yeah, I guess it comes from all kinds of places, but I guess it usually feels random when ideas come to me.
Sure. Yeah. How excited were you when you figured out this business is going to pay my bills and I don't have to,
I mean, it's still, yeah, it's surreal thinking about it. I was working at a bakery at the time and kind of just started cutting my hours back when I realized like, oh, I don't need to be here all the time. I actually need to focus on shipping orders and stuff and finding that balance. But yeah, it's still crazy to me that I get to do art and do that stuff full time.
Is that the food service place you was talking about? Or
Yeah, I worked at a handful of different places. The last one, I was Appalachian in Morgantown.
let's talk about dealing with the public. How fun is that? Because I worked at McDonald's.
Yeah.
And I tell you, it was the hardest job I've ever had
Yeah.
in my life for multiple reasons. For one, I think minimum wage was like $5.15 an hour then.
Yeah.
And two, you have to deal with the public, which is hit and miss. But did you like work like a cashier, like a front position, or
Not at that job. I was in the bakery, which was nice because I wasn't at a counter necessarily having to deal with the public as much. But before that, I worked at Jimmy John's for a while in college, and also at like a smoothie bubble tea place downtown Morgantown, where I was, checking people out and making their orders specifically and stuff.
nice?
So yeah, I've done that.
Yeah. And, people also, too, there's a lot of good people, but the
Yeah.
majority of people that gave me problems. I remember one time I got an order for a cookie, and there's this dude, he's like 90 some years old in Welch. I'm not going to say his name because people are going to know him. But me being my newly employed self, I reach in and grab the cookie with my bare hand.
Yeah.
And then put it in a bag. And he was like, "Boy, what are you doing? Are you crazy?" He kind of like,
Yeah.
he might as well just took out a belt and whipped me in front of everyone. And after that, I learned to use tongs.
Yeah.
He kind of had a point there. I mean, let's be honest, but yeah. So yeah, people, sometimes they have a good point. A lot of times they're jerks.
Yeah. It can
but
be interesting for sure.
I know my mom was a waitress for like 9 years at Bob Evans, so I always have to leave a good tip. Like,
Oh,
no matter
yeah.
what.
Yeah. That's important. Yeah.
I mean, they can treat me like dog and I'll leave a tip. I don't know if that's good to do, but I just try to take care of people. But anyway.
Yeah. I have a lot of friends in the service industry still. And it's important to treat those people well for sure.
Oh, yeah. All right. So, stores rolling. Eventually, I know you've done glass painting, right?
I've done like painting on windows.
Yeah,
for
window
stores. Yeah.
painting.
Yeah.
Have you ever done a mural?
Yes. I've done a couple of things like that, doing more of that this year.
Oh, sweet. Where at?
I did. The first big one was in Charleston. They have like the pillars under the interstate there. I think it's 64. But yeah, it was like one of the big column murals. I did one of those a few years ago.
Oh, cool.
I did some murals out on a trail in Hurricane. That's like an outdoor trail, and there's some big concrete slabs. I did 4 of those cryptid murals.
Oh, cryptid. Okay, I gotta look this one up. Was the Charleston one cryptids or?
Yeah, it's like Mothman and Flatwoods Monster.
So it's like go to Liz for cryptids. So you are the cryptid queen, pretty
I guess.
All right. So let's see. What would I Google? Hurricane cryptid mural. Let's try that.
Let's see if that comes up. I'm curious.
Oh, you've never looked up your?
Oh yeah, it did work.
Oh, there we go. Oh, did you do all these?
Yeah.
Okay, let me bring this one up and you can see. Oh, there's you. Okay. A little pixelated, but that's good enough for this screen. Oh, that's awesome. So what's the process here? Did you paint this somewhere and then they haul it there, or these big, what am I looking at?
So
are
those
these
are
slabs?
they're like big cement slabs that are permanently installed there. So I did all the painting there outside.
Okay, so they installed it there and then you came up and.
Yeah, the other side has a Charleston artist, Blake Wheeler. His work is on the other side, which was cool to kind of do a flip side thing with him.
Oh, that's cool. So his are on the back of these?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's awesome. So I've noticed a lot of communities have these amazing murals that are unfortunately starting to deteriorate. What's the process of making these to where they'll withstand weather and...
They make different sealants. They're also like helpful to prevent graffiti because you can just peel stickers and like wipe marker stuff that anyone might do to that kind of like outdoor mural right off of there. So yeah, there's different kinds of sprays or like big, thick, kind of goopy, clear sealant paint that you can put over it.
Okay, they'll make it last several years.
Yeah.
I always say, I'm like, well, we need maintenance plans in these things.
Yeah, it's helpful when the people hiring the artist maybe know a little bit about that, because at least starting out, I didn't know as much about it. So it was helpful to have some direction with that kind of stuff, like the finishing details and everything.
Yeah. So you say you got some mural commissions this year in line, or
I've got one for sure coming up with Cheat Lake Elementary.
Cool.
It's a big outdoor mural that I'm doing at their like new playground space. I'm excited about it. It's going to be deep sea themed because they're the dolphins.
Oh, sweet. Is there a dolphin squatch, or like is there some kind of a?
I wonder if there is any kind of dolphin cryptid.
I mean, there's got to be, right?
Right. Yeah.
Somewhere. I remember I was looking up. I'll post things about cryptids, and they're like, "Hey, in Arizona, we have the blah blah blah. You know, this and that." And I'm like, "Oh, that's cool."
Yeah.
You know, everyone's kind of jumping on the bandwagon. Okay, this is a hard question. Top 2 favorite cryptids.
It is a hard question. I'm pretty basic in that my favorite is Mothman. So, I mean, he's got to be in there. I might say Sheep Squatch. I don't know. The other one's a hard choice. I love Flatwoods Monster, and I like Vegetable Man a lot too.
Vegetable Man. I've seen that one. What's the deal there?
So he was seen around Fairmont by a guy, a farmer, and supposedly tried to like hypnotize him and suck his blood with like needly fingers, suction cup fingers that he has.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
That I'm not looking at the right thing here. Let me see. Is it Veggie Man or
if you put in West Virginia, or Cryptid, it'd probably bring it up. Yeah.
Ooh, this looks cool.
Yeah. He was one of the ones that Gray Barker talked about.
Okay, yeah. And he's the there's Gray Barker Day that the
yeah, he's like the UFO big research guy, and yeah,
that's awesome. So you've made this?
Yeah, I've done pins and stickers of him, and yeah, he's a good one.
Heck yeah. Well, good choices. So let's get into a little Mothman lore. I'll ask your opinion. So for the movie I'm doing, I'm straying away completely from the lore.
Sure.
And it's a whole new interpretation. I won't really spoil it, but I'm wondering if I'm going to make some people upset if we don't do the Silver Bridge collapse. And
I don't know. I think people like hearing different stories and imaginings of all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Because with this, I want people to leave after watching and be like, oh, this could be a series.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just think there's so much. I think Mothman crushes like Bigfoot as far as lore goes.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Because what is it? It's okay. So the Silver Bridge collapse, they started seeing. There's a couple sightings that are big. There's one with like, was it 2 couples?
Yeah, who were driving.
Yeah, they were driving, saw the Mothman, and then they would see, it would kind of be like this harbinger of doom thing. They would see the Mothman, and then all of a sudden the bridge collapses, and you know, that, and then then it was born in, you know, I don't know when they started to figure that out, but lore wise, is there anything in particular that draws you to the Mothman, or is it kind of the look of Mothman? Or
I think it is to some extent how many different accounts there are, people that, you know, supposedly saw him and had like their eyes swell shut after, like reported actual physical symptoms, or people, you know, didn't know each other, and just all the other weird things going on at the time with phone calls and like kind of some of the stuff that's in the Mothman movie, but also that John Keel wrote about. And then also just the weird that overlap with the government stuff that was going on out there with like the TNT bunkers, and there was the old like I think big munitions building, huge warehouse that Mothman was seen in a lot and got torn down, and just kind of the whole vibe out there I think is really interesting. And yeah,
it's fun. Like you go up and drive around. I've heard people going around the TNT area, and it's like this really odd. I don't know if it's because you know about the Mothman.
Exactly. Like maybe you're just in the mood and thinking about that stuff, but it is an interesting vibe out there. And the sound in the TNT bunkers is crazy. Like it echoes so much that even just that itself is weird and really fun. But yeah, it's really pretty out there, but also kind of eerie, I guess.
Sure. Yeah, I haven't been up there. I need to go up there and drive around. All right. So, as far as other mediums, is there anything we haven't mentioned? Like, do you make jewelry and things like that, or is there any other kind of things that you're thinking of diving into?
I've done a lot of collabs with other people.
You know Michaela Pence?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, she does. She is going to do makeup on the movie we're shooting, but also she's a silversmith.
Oh, cool.
In Greenbrier County.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I didn't know if y'all kind of ran into each other at like setups and stuff.
I mean, you never know. I might have met her.
Which you live in Morgantown, right?
Yeah.
But eventually creatives tend to run into each other.
For sure. Yeah.
And on that, like, what's it like for you growing up in Appalachia where creativity is present, but it's not necessarily portrayed often by the national media?
Sure.
What's it like for you growing up here, getting to do what you love? Well, not necessarily growing up here, but living here, being amongst the lore.
It is really honestly magical to me to get to meet people and to get to do what I love and talk to other people and artists and everything and share the stories about the cryptids, but also just talk about people's hometowns and where they're from and what the best hot dog is, where they live, and that kind of stuff. That's really like what keeps me going doing the art stuff is, of course, the support from people, but people seem to really want that kind of thing in West Virginia, to talk about art and creativity and be in that realm. And I think they crave it maybe more because it's not as common as other places. Yeah.
I can see that. Do you ever get feedback of like, thank you for doing it? Or, do you ever get anyone just reach out and say, hey, I just wanted to say like, you're awesome or anything?
Yeah, it happens way more than I ever expected, honestly, where people are just like, hey, I have one of your stickers up on my wall or on my car or this or that. And every time I'm just like, that's insane to me, but it's awesome. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Well, like I mentioned off camera, I was like, I posted about it and people were like, oh, I love her artwork. It's going to be awesome. So it's really cool to watch, your business grow. Cause I'm an entrepreneur too. And, with making videos, people would just say, oh, well, are you going to get a real job? This whole video thing, when this doesn't work out, like you're gonna go and you can go back to the coal mines. What are you gonna do? So I kind of use that as like an underdog mentality too.
Yeah.
Of like, I'll show you.
Right.
You know what I mean? So on that, eventually, you get contacted by West Virginia Tourism.
Right.
When was that? And when did you, what was the original idea behind the Paranormal Trail?
They reached out to me, I guess a month or two before that came out around Halloween last year, and said that they were looking for a person to do the poster art for that. And I was super excited, obviously, and they kind of told me about what at least some of the first potential stops on the trail were going to be, and kind of gave me mostly free reign over the art aspect of it, which was awesome. And I didn't really expect to be in like the teaser trailer thing for it, which was just like an added really fun bonus when they were like, yeah, come on down to the asylum and we'll do some filming.
Yeah. I saw you on the website. I was like, hey, there's Liz.
Yeah.
So, and for those who don't know, the Paranormal Trail is how many locations? There's
13, but it was initially, I think they added more since then.
Yeah. Well, I think I just had Miller's Nightmare Haunted Farm on. I don't think they're on here yet, which there's so many places, but it has the Mothman Museum, Trans-Allegheny, Lake Shawnee, West Virginia Penitentiary, Blennerhassett. They're coming on. Nice. Ghost Tour of Harper's Ferry, Hotel Morgan, Flatwoods Monster Museum, Old Hospital on College Hill, Historic Glen Ferris Inn, Shepherdstown Mystery Walk, the Haunted Haymond, Flinderation Tunnel. That sounds fun.
Right.
What is this? I'm going to have to look into this. Bigfoot Statue, Bigfoot Museum, Silver Run Tunnel, Lord, how much stuff do we have? Cryptid Mountain Miniature Golf and
It's very scary here.
Hempfield Tunnel. Yeah. I'm going to have to do this. Have you done this?
I haven't done like the trail officially done every stop. I've been to probably a lot of those places, but not all of them specifically. I need to. Yeah.
Yeah. So they, did you do the icons and stuff for this?
No, it's really well done though. I love the ghost cursor.
You didn't do this patch?
No.
Okay. Yeah. You did the poster art.
Right.
Okay.
Someone else did the logo, which is really cute.
Yeah, they did a really good job. Oh, cool. The website has like a little ghost.
I know. I love that. I don't think that
was.
was there when I looked, maybe on my phone. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so you picked Flatwoods Monster and Mothman at Trans-Allegheny naturally.
Right.
Shout out, Little General Stores.
Yeah. Yeah, it was funny doing another thing there.
Yeah, yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So, all right. Any other projects come to mind that have been unique to you over your career? Or, we don't want to single any out, but if there's any in particular that...
of course, my collabs with Blinko Glass were really fun. The first one being the Flatwoods Monster decanter.
Okay. How do I get that? Here. I've tried to do, I know that it's like...
keep an eye on eBay is really all I can tell you.
Really?
Sadly. Yeah.
Do you have one?
Yeah, I have
I
have a couple.
Well, I guess that's only... you want to sell one? I don't know.
No.
Okay.
I want to be buried with those.
Oh, it's beautiful. Me and Andrew was talking about that too, and I instantly started trying to figure out where I could purchase one.
Yeah, they'll occasionally pop up on eBay. It'd be fun if they would do them again. But
so this is what you collaborated with?
Yeah. They reached out to me 2019 about doing an artist collab, and that was kind of the first thing that came to mind just because it fits so well with their mid-century designs and the other vase shapes that they've done in the past. They've done a lot of like spade-shaped toppers and stuff like that. So it worked out really well and people were super into it, which was really fun. I did a poster with it and a little like a sun catcher design too.
Awesome. I'd say it sold out quick.
Yeah.
Let's check eBay. Let's see if we can luck out here. Because so how would you give them like a sketch of the shapes and the color?
Yeah. I went down there and met with them and kind of like saw a little bit about the process. Started looking more into their previous designs and some like catalogs from the 60s and 70s, and then did some sketches. And they did some preliminary runs kind of trying to see like what was possible with stuff.
Yeah.
Tried a few different shades of green. Yeah.
Well, it looks like I've struck out. There is no Flatwoods Monster decanter on eBay.
Got to keep that alert turned on.
I know. Yeah, that
last one was for $2,000.
the last one was for 2,000.
Yeah.
Goodness, it's worth it.
I appreciate it. I know. I was like, oh, that's so weird. I don't know.
It should be. That's amazing. Well, Blinko, let's get a cryptid series going.
Well, they kind of we kind of were working towards that. I'm hoping to do more cryptid stuff with them. I also did a bookend that was Mothman. I guess that was year before last.
Can I find that?
Yeah, it should be somewhere if you look up Blinko Mothman bookend.
Mothman, Blinko. Okay, let's see if I can buy this. I gotta buy something.
Those are also kind of hard to find, but I may be able to hook you up with
Yes. Wait, is this it?
Yeah.
Yes, I've seen these.
Yeah. So that one wasn't blown glass, but it was a mold that I carved at home out of like graphite, and then they pour the glass in. And
So you're just sitting there like,
yeah, scraping
like
out
4
in the
days?
backyard. Yeah, and he would come out with the leaf blower and like blow all the dust away, which was helpful. Yeah, it was super fun, and it's kind of inspired by back in I think it was 60s or 70s. They did a owl bookend, So it was inspired by that shape. They had found just part of the mold, just the outline. So it's the exact, basically same outline as the owl, and I did all the detail in the inside.
That's the one I saw. I saw the owl one.
Yeah, you can find those sometimes at vintage shops.
Yep.
They're really neat.
Can you find these? Let's check eBay. All right.
I rarely see those on eBay.
Can people quit buying stuff? Like before I buy it, please.
I have a few left, so.
Mothman bookend Blinko. All right. Nope.
Because that's the owl there.
They got the owl, $35. I would say the Mothman ones are a little bit more.
They usually go for a little more, yeah.
Yeah. And do they have any other cryptid stuff?
I think they did a Bigfoot, kind of just like a foot imprint at some point.
Nice.
But yeah, we've done some sun catchers. I think they also we did a Flatwoods Monster like water bottle when that came out.
Oh, cool.
That's like their classic Blanco water bottle with that kind of engraved on it, sandblasted, I guess.
That's probably not available either.
No, those are almost the hardest to find, I feel like. I rarely see those for some reason.
Man.
I think if there's anything else.
Oh, that's awesome. Any other projects? I'm gonna keep on saying that until you say, no, not really. No, that's about it.
Okay, now I'm trying to think.
Have you ever done like a comic book or anything? Or
I'm working on my own graphic novel right now.
Really?
Graphic novel, yeah. It's in the works. That's my main, I guess, big project that I'm working on.
Cryptid stuff?
Yeah, it's all Mothman. It's going to be about him, other cryptids in there, of course, too, in West Virginia folklore.
So you writing a story?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Have you wrote it already?
No, I'm still working on it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
How many pages are we thinking?
Probably like 200-ish, something.
So it's like legit, like a thing.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, I want to put my name on the waiting list for that one.
Yeah, for sure.
Because all this stuff seems to disappear, Liz. Before I don't have the connection. Which I mean, when you said Flatwoods Monster was like 2020, right? When you finished it?
Right, yeah.
So I'm a little late to the party.
Yeah.
My coolest Mothman thing, I have this engraved on a vintage barrel lid. There's like a Mothman engraving.
That's cool.
I cannot think of who did it. Sorry not to shout you out. That's total letdown. But I'll show it to you before before you leave. But well, I'm excited for the novel. All right, Liz, I think we have fully expressed the career.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now's your shot. Anything you want to, let people know, like, hey, I'm really tired of y'all emailing and talking and leaving bad Etsy reviews.
Oh my God. No, I appreciate all the good reviews. Yeah, I just appreciate all the support, really. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know people love your artwork, and I think, once they dive in, they'll see a lot of things that they didn't realize. Like, oh, I know that art style.
Yeah.
And maybe realize they had some of your work and didn't even know it, you know? So, well, thank you for what you do. It is amazing work, and I'm excited to see where your career goes. I hope we get to collaborate on something.
Yeah, for
more
sure.
in the future.
Yeah, again.
Where can people find you? You got the Etsy store?
Etsy, mainly on Instagram. Keep on creeping on there.
Shoot, yeah. And anyone who has a good idea of some cool stuff you're wanting, reach out to Liz.
Yeah.
You are taking commissions currently?
Yeah, I do commissions.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here. And I got to introduce you to my cats.
Yes. Oh my God, so cute. Yeah, thanks for having me.
We need a cryptid cat collection.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
That would be cool. Like you take different kind of cats and then make them a different.
Be cute. I did cat stickers, but they were mashed up with food. But with cryptids, would be awesome too.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, stay tuned, everybody. Other than that, be sure to like this video, subscribe to Creepalachia on YouTube. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, be sure to leave a review. Those reviews will really help the show grow. And don't forget where you have Facebook and TikTok and Instagram and all that other crap. But also, above all else, always remember, long live Appalachia.